I was about 7 years old. I woke up feeling as if lead weights were on my stomach. I told my dad I felt sick to my stomach. After a few minutes, I sat up and vomited large quantities of blood. My dad helped me into the bathroom. It had been dark in my room, and he hadn't realized I had thrown up blood until I threw up again. At that point, in the bathroom, I felt myself pass out. I remember I wasn't concerned about falling. I think because my dad was holding me up. Plus, I had never fainted before, so I didn't know what fainting was about. I remember a bit about a car ride to the hospital. Then I remember the nurses trying to get me to drink this grape-flavored stuff, barium, so that they could take an X-ray. But I kept gagging. They told me that I was not allowed to throw the stuff up. I tried hard not to, while they kept pouring it down my throat. But I couldn't control the nausea, and again, I threw up a large amount of blood. I guess it was then that they realized my parents had not been exaggerating when they told them about how much blood I had already vomited. They stopped trying to take the X-ray and forcing me to drink the grape stuff. I was aware of them running by my side while they were taking me down the hall on a gurney to another room. I woke up for a bit to see that the doctor had already stretched one arm out on a board of some sort and was inserting a needle into it. I turned a bit to see the same thing in my other arm. I remember the doctor telling me something, maybe words of encouragement. The next thing I knew, I was floating above myself. I could see my parents on the other side of the curtain on the bed next to me. My mom was smoking a cigarette, and my dad looked very stressed, had his hands folded on his lap. I could sort of see myself, but mostly I was watching my parents, as a 7-year-old would. I don't remember having a body when I was above myself. I could see my body, but couldn't see the me who was above the scene, up in the air doing the looking. Then, every time after that, when I tried to open my eyes, it was grainy and noisy, just like when cable goes out on your TV. Same sound and visual. My first memory after that was being back in my body, waking up enough to know my mom was there. She told me if I lay quietly, she would read to me. I remember drifting in and out. I stayed in the hospital for a week. In my early 20s, when I was having an ulcer problem, I found out more about what had happened and why. They did an upper GI, which showed that my jugular vein was misshapen, probably due to the fact that I have always liked to sleep with my hand curled up under my chin. The doctor said he thought that years of sleeping like that, with the gentle pressure of my finger resting on my throat, had trained my jugular vein to bend into an abnormal position, a bit too close to my esophagus. This resulted in the piece of glass that I had swallowed nicking my jugular vein as it cut the inside of my throat. Another thing. Several years later, I was telling my mum about my experience. She told me that soon after she lit the cigarette, the doctor yelled at her to put it out. But she kept smoking, ignoring the doctor, until a nurse said to her, "Put it out now, or leave. There are oxygen tanks present, and they could ignite." Then, my mom put the cigarette out. But she was embarrassed, she said, that she was yelled at by the doctor, and that she had buckled under their pressure to put the cigarette out. She is very strong-willed. She also told me that the point at which she had lit the cigarette was when the doctor had ordered more blood. The nurse had said, "Do you want it stat?" And his response was, "Stat, hell, you run, and you run fast. She is already dead, but we can maybe bring her around if we get more blood into her quick enough." That's when my mom lit up her cigarette, she said. I said to my mom, "That's when I was floating above myself, and I saw everything you just told me, happening just the way you said it." We went on to corroborate other details of what I had seen. She was really scared and unnerved about this, because we shared the same memories of what had happened. And that was the same point that the doctor had just told the nurse I was dead.